So double brokering and co-brokering are two completely different things. Sometimes I notice people are confusing those two. Double brokering is if you as a freight broker broker your load to a carrier and that carrier goes and brokers that load to another carrier. That is what we reference as double brokering. That is unauthorized. Co-brokering is different. Co-brokering is, say for instance, I go and team up with another broker and co-broker a load. Together we move a load from point A to point B. Now there are two different types of co-brokering in my opinion, how I see it. One type is basically what I refer to as begging. New freight brokers who are not willing to put in the work, not willing to go out and get their own customers, they go out and say, hey, let me find a broker who I can help move his loads. I'm not really a fan of this method. To me, I signed up to be a freight broker. I don't want to go to another freight broker and have to move his freight to learn how the process works. No, I want to move my own freight and learn how to service my customer, what they like, what they don't like, how to get better, more efficient through my own business. So I'm not interested, if I've already set up a freight broker business, to be a freight agent essentially under another freight broker. I want to accept the responsibility and be a freight broker because what I know is I have to go out and get my own customer base. I know that in order to win in this business, I have to have my own customer base. So there's no need for me to prolong the inevitable. I have to do that. I have to bite that bullet and deal with whatever I have to deal with in order to do that. So I don't want to prolong that. I want to go ahead and attack that right now. The second type of co-brokering is the one that I prefer. Let's say that I'm a freight broker and I'm moving loads already. I'm moving some FTL and some LTL loads. And now I've gotten to the point where I need to move a larger volume of those LTL loads. My shipper is giving me more and more of those type of loads. So now what I need to do is be able to access LTL carriers so I can give them even better discounts, get more of those loads and make more money. But now I don't personally have direct access to LTL carriers. So now I need to co-broker. I need to co-broker with brokers who have tariffs with LTL carriers, and I access that LTL carrier through that broker. So what I'll do for you today is show you the difference, the fundamental difference between the two methods of co-brokering and the results that usually come with each. And then I'll take you into the LTL system and let you check it out for yourself. So come on inside, let's get down to the business. Now what I want you to understand, the information that I'm sharing with you in this video is from my own experience. So it doesn't mean that it's the best way for you. I am just showing you from my experience what I prefer when it comes down to the two methods of co-brokering. This is my way because it suits me. I have a certain mentality, so I'm going to do things a certain way. If you're different from me, which you very much likely are, you're going to do things maybe a little bit different. So I'm not saying that the way that I choose to go is the way for everybody. It's just my way. So if you see it and you think that maybe it's something that you can take and start implementing in your own business, by all means, go for it. So now let's talk about the fundamental difference between what I refer to really as co-begging as compared to co-brokering. Now, co-begging to me is basically you're not bringing anything to the table. You don't have anything to offer. You are really just coming along for the ride and hoping you can take something from somebody else. And what I found in this business, that usually does not work because people are not looking just to give you something. People in this business are working hard every day. And if somebody has something that they can bring to the table to help somebody else and in turn they can help you, then that's how it works. But thinking that somebody is just going to give you a handout and help you with something because, okay, you're a nice person, that's probably going to happen sometimes, but more oftentimes it's not going to happen. Because this approach does not give the right answer to the question of what's in it for me. See, it's important. It's so important. Anytime I'm doing something and I need somebody's assistance with something, I want to find out how can I make it so that I can provide something and in turn get something. Because I don't want to go empty-handed. I want to go in the posture of this is what I have and in turn, can you also help me with this? You see, that's how I did it when it came down to me moving LTL freight. First of all, I start moving freight, moving my own freight, getting my own customers, a customer base. And then that customer start to give me more freight. Now I have something to take to another broker. I have freight. I just have so much freight that I'm not efficient enough to move it on my own. So now I need some assistance. I got to go through another freight broker who has a connection already with these LTL carriers, these gigantic LTL carriers, FedEx, YRC, on and on. These type of the carriers that I want to connect to, SDs, carriers that are going to give me LTL rates. That's the key. And let me reiterate one thing here. One of these approaches brings something to the table. It brings value to the table. It brings freight. One of these approaches brings absolutely nothing to the table. All it brings is an offer to help another broker move his freight. Which one do you think would be a more appealing offer? If you were on the other side of the offer, which one would be more attractive to you? And something else that you might not know about the approach that I'm speaking of as it pertains to co-brokering is that it's not about you going out and having to find freight brokers, find their numbers and get in contact with them and try and get set up with them. That's not how it works. What this is about is accessing those freight brokers, those carriers, those LTL carriers, through a system.
So now we've jumped over into a TMS system. This TMS system is through eFreight Solutions that is now run by Ty. But you can also get access through a system like this through someone like McLeod. With that all said, as you can see at the top left-hand corner, it says create LTL shipment. All we're going to do is to go in here and enter our shipper's information, all of the detailed information of the load. Once we've entered that information, now what's going to happen is the system is going to go in and start to query carriers, and LTL carriers are going to come back and give us pricing for these loads. Let's take a look. Now remember, we picked this load up in Forest Park, Georgia, and we're going to Moonachie, New Jersey. I think that's about 892 miles, it said. And here is the prices we're getting in that lane. And these prices are coming from LTL carriers, FedEx, XPO Logistics, Roadrunner, so forth and so on. And if you take a look at the prices over here, you can see now what I mean when I say LTL rates, 890 some odd miles, and you're getting these kind of prices. That's unheard of from a truckload carrier. Now, if you take a look over here and you see the blue button, you can just click the blue button, select carrier, and that starts the process of you moving that load. But remember, I said you don't have a direct relationship with XPO Logistics, with FedEx, with SDs. But another broker has this kind of access. And how we're accessing these carriers is through that tariff that we talked about. That's already in place. That's because you have this type of TMS, you have access to these carriers.
Now, this probably is a little bit different than what you had expected when it comes to co-brokering. A lot of people think that it's a manual process, and it is sometimes, but that's the old way of doing things. The new way is to have an automated system in place to be able to go and access big carriers. Even if you don't have relationships with those carriers, you can access them through other brokers and the system that has access to those carriers. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. That's how I look at co-brokering. I think the best thing for you to do is to be able to bring as much value to the table as possible. In exchange for that value, then you get something for that value. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. Also, if you want to learn more about the freight broker business, I'll leave a free link in the description. It's my 5-video series titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It gives you a chance to come into the office with me, watch over my shoulder as I move loads, talk to shippers and carriers. That way you can get a better understanding of how the business works. And then if you want to know more about how you can become a full-time freight broker, I'll leave a free video right here. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.